Kicks off with a masked guy who just finished defeating the demon god in a video game. Cue the dramatic music and probably a few broken controllers. Standing next to him is a blonde girl named Fieria. She congratulates him and calls him Sunraku. Sweet, right? Wrong. Sunraku, full of unresolved trauma and gamer rage, says he's waited a long time for this moment, and bam, he kicks her straight in the face. No hesitation, just boom. He yells at her to join the demon god in hell, because she was the real villain all along. Oof, plot twist. And with that, he declares the game Fieria officially garbage, trash tier, uninstalled, and emotionally deleted. Now, fast forward to the future, where screen-based games are considered retro. Most kids these days play full immersion VR games, like Smell the Pixels level immersive. Enter our main guy, Rakuro Hizutome, who also is Sunraku in-game. Professional trash game connoisseur, his hobby, buying and playing the worst video games imaginable. He's like a human bug tester with PTSD. Cut to a school hallway. Rakuro's heading to Mahinoki High when a girl waits nervously in the corridor. She even practices a whole conversation in her head, hoping to impress him by talking about video games. But before she can say a word, some other dude swoops in and completely ignores her. Oof. He casually tells Rakuro he stayed up all night playing a game so bad it may have committed war crimes. He calls it the worst garbage ever. Meanwhile, across town, we meet Mana Imawaki, manager of a video game store called Rock Roll. She's prepping for the holiday rush, more kids, more games, more parental regret. Then Rei Saiga, yes, the same girl from school, shows up pretending to browse for new games. Mana sees right through her and says, "Girl, you're just here to stalk Rakuro, and that's okay." Mana reveals that Rakuro's been locked in his room for days playing the absolute worst game ever made. It had more bugs than a campground and frustrated players to the point they broke their VR headsets. Oh, and the final boss fight. You were forced to wear a swimsuit and a mask because apparently that was more efficient. Sure, Jan. Rakuro shows up at the store asking for another garbage game like it's a fine wine. Rei sees him and panics. Ninja vanish, disappearing into the shadows. Mana asks him how Fieria went. Rakuro says he hated every second, especially the blonde heroine. Whenever things got tough, she'd accidentally kill villagers and blame the demon god, and when he thought he'd finally earn a reward for all his hard work, nope, she just criticized him and refused to progress the story. The only joy he got was unlocking the final 3 minutes after the boss battle, just so he could beat her up for revenge. Gamer therapy. Rei, still blushing behind the shelves, overhears all of this. Since Rakuro has nothing left to play, Mana recommends a good game for once. One that's not total garbage. She figures if he knows what's bad, he'll appreciate what's good. She hands him a copy of Shangri-La Frontier, a top-tier VR game with over 30 million players. Also, yes, she's totally doing this so Rei can impress him later. Later at home, Rakuro reads the game's backstory. Apparently, it's about refugee spaceships escaping extinction. Now their descendants live on a medieval-like planet 1,000 years later. Cool lore, 1010 would skip cutscene. He sets up the game and logs in. The VR system was developed by Utopia Corp, a company founded by genius programmer Tsukuyo Tsukuri. They make the software, the hardware, and even the online services, basically. Apple if Apple didn't suck. Rakuro picks his character class, dual-wielding mercenary plus lucky vagabond. For gear, he sells everything except a bird mask to buy better weapons. Ends up half-naked, out of embarrassment. He keeps the mask on, stylish and mysterious, kinda. He skips the intro and starts playing. He's dropped into a forest in the middle of nowhere. First order of business, parkour up a tree like a true gaming legend. His mini-map only shows 3 places, his location, the Forest of Madness, and the city of Firstia, because he picked the Vagabond class. His spawn point is randomized RNG gods. Be nice. While exploring, he checks his stats. Just 3 vitality points. Basically 1 sneeze away from dying, but he's chill about it. Then, ambush, a goblin attacks, he dodges and one-shots it like a boss. Assumes early mobs are weak. Spoiler, they are. He levels up and gets the goblin's axe but decides not to use it because it's already falling apart. Suddenly, more rustling, another attack, this time from a rabbit with red eyes and murder vibes. He dodges again. The rabbit crashes into a tree, which collapses. Yep, this bunny hits like a truck. Rakuro doesn't panic. He watches its attack pattern, then lands a precise counterattack right to the chest. Boom, victory. He gains more XP and unlocks a flashy new skill, Flash Counter. So far, no bugs, clean combat, smart mechanics. This game might actually be fun. Rakuro goes on a monster-murdering spree. He farms XP, unlocks abilities, and reaches level 12. He even scores the rare Vorpal Bunny daggers, despite only a 5% drop rate. Gamer luck activated. Right now, he only uses his stab attack because it's the least risky. He realizes he needs better loot and stronger enemies, but he's wandered too far. The closest city is Secondale, and he needs to cross a bridge to get there. At the bridge, he meets his first boss, the Great Ravenous Serpent. Most players fight it in teams of 3, but Rakuro, nope, he's soloing it. No armor, no backup, just pure gamer instinct and unresolved stress from trash games past. In a change of scene, we see a knight in armor arriving at the starting city of Firstia. The NPCs and other players are surprised when they see him, since he's wearing the emblem of a clan known for trying to fully complete the game, so they wonder what someone like that is doing in the beginner town. At that moment, we realize the armored player is actually Rei, who came to that city to look for Sunraku since it was the first place he should have visited. But what she doesn't know is that Rakuro had wandered too far into the forest and was already closer to the next city. Meanwhile, Sunraku is still fighting the boss. First, he analyzes the movements of the giant ravenous serpent, then he activates a skill called Light Step, which allows him to dodge all of its attacks and study its patterns. That's when he concludes its movements are predictable and that he can beat it without taking damage. But he knows that if he gets hit even once, it's over. He tries to injure it, but ends up breaking his sword, since its scales are way too hard. So he decides to use the blades he got from the rabbit, and just as he's about to use his thrust attack, the serpent spits a liquid at him, which he initially thinks is poop, but then realizes is poison and that he'll now lose 1 HP every 10 seconds, so he has to finish the fight in under 4 minutes. To do that, he needs to land critical hits, and in this game, crits aren't random. They trigger when you land a perfect strike or hit a vital spot, and since the serpent's scales are too tough, its only weak point is its head. He tries to go for it but realizes it's too hard, so he decides to create a weak spot by positioning himself near its tail. Then he uses his thrust skill and manages to pierce its scales. He takes the chance to land continuous blows, all of them critical, but he underestimates how much HP the serpent has, and it throws a hit at him, which he blocks just in time, but ends up getting launched into the air. That's when he realizes this game isn't as easy as the one he played before, and that he's really underestimated it, but even so, he doesn't give up, blocks a bite, and uses a skill called Flash Counter to free himself. He then grabs on and, activating his thrust attack, stabs the serpent in the eye, finally finishing it off. The system tells him he's gained